You don't control anything, or at least that's what you've been led to believe. Think about all those times someone convinced you to do something without you even realizing it. Was it truly your decision, or did they plant the idea in your mind and you nurtured it until it bloomed? If you think you've always acted on your own will, you're living in an illusion. The truth is harsh. The world is full of puppeteers, and if you're not one of them, you're the puppet. But here's the key difference between those who control and those who are controlled. The former never impose. They simply make others act as they want, without them even realizing it. True manipulation is invisible. It's a whisper, not a command. An emotion implanted, not a direct order. And the worst part is, you've already experienced it. Think back to the last time you changed your mind without even knowing how it happened. Was it an innocent comment, a well-placed gesture, or something more? That's real power, moving others without raising suspicion. Now, here's the question that makes you uncomfortable. What if you were the one pulling the strings? What if, instead of being pushed, you were the one making the moves? The difference between those who win and those who lose in this game is simple. Winners understand that power isn't about imposing, it's about induction. The problem is, we've been taught wrong. We've been sold the idea that influence is about speaking loudly, being authoritative, and imposing our will. But the real power brokers don't need to raise their voices. They don't need to command. True strategists make others believe their ideas are their own. And that's what you weren't told. Manipulation isn't about shouting, convincing with arguments, or imposing with force. It's far subtler. A psychological dance where you guide others without them even knowing you're leading. Do you want to know how it works? Start by identifying the right people. Don't try to manipulate everyone, just those who matter most, the impressionable ones, those seeking guidance without admitting it, the ones who think they're making decisions on their own but actually need someone to do it for them. Next, make them believe the idea is theirs. Resistance fades when people feel they are in control. If you want someone to do something, don't tell them directly. Subtly plant the idea. Let them come to their own conclusion. The human mind resists orders, but loves its own ideas. Do it right, and they'll defend your plan as if it were their own. Third, fragment the opposition. The biggest threat to control isn't resistance. It's the organization of resistance. If a group unites against you, you lose control. But if you sow doubt, create small divisions, or pit them against each other, they weaken, divide, and conquer. But control goes beyond that. To truly control, you must understand human emotion. Logic moves thoughts, but emotion drives action. People don't act based on reason. They act because they feel something: fear, desire, insecurity, pride. Identify what drives each person and use it to your advantage. Don't tell them what to do. Make them feel it's necessary. And here's the danger. Playing with others' minds has consequences. If you're caught, you become the enemy. Abuse this power, and someone else will learn to use it against you. Control is a weapon, and like any weapon, it can turn on you. History is full of strategists who thought they were invincible until someone else mastered the game better than they did. That's why the real question isn't whether you can manipulate others. It's whether you're willing to face the consequences. Once you cross that line, there's no turning back. Now you know the truth. Power isn't about forcing. It's about guiding. It's not about speaking. It's about making others speak for you. And the great paradox is this: the less control seems in your hands, the more control you actually have. The world is not run by the loudest, but by those who know how to pull the strings in silence. The real question is, will you stay a puppet, or will you learn to handle the strings? This is only the beginning. To master influence, you need to understand something that most never grasp. People don't follow ideas, they follow emotions. Look at history's great movements. It wasn't perfect arguments or irrefutable data that drove them. It was emotion, a vision that made people feel something, because when emotion enters the picture, logic disappears. Have you ever noticed how people defend ideas they can't even explain? They fight for beliefs they never questioned. That's because those ideas are tied to their identity, to their sense of belonging. Here's the key. If you want to influence someone, make your idea part of their identity. People can change their minds, but they won't change their identity. Without resistance, no one wants to admit they've been wrong. But if you make an idea part of who they are, they'll defend it fiercely. Not because you told them to, but because it gives them a reason to exist. This is where it gets dangerous. This is no longer about persuasion. This is programming. It's about planting an idea in someone's mind without them realizing it. For that, you need 3 things: exposure, repetition, and emotional connection. You can't change someone's thinking with one move. Resistance is natural, but if you introduce an idea slowly, without pressure, the mind will accept it. The unknown creates rejection, but familiarity breeds comfort. A lie told 1,000 times becomes truth, not because reality changes, but because the mind mistakes familiarity for certainty. Great manipulators don't say something once. They present it in different ways over time until it's embedded. Understanding is not enough. You need to make them feel it. The human brain responds more to emotion than logic. If you can connect an idea to a powerful emotion, fear, desire, pride, nostalgia, it becomes impossible to ignore. Here's something even deeper. Most people believe they make rational decisions. They think they're logical, independent, with their own criteria. The reality? Most of their decisions were made for them before they even realized it. Society designed their desires. Experiences conditioned their responses. Biology programs their reactions. If you understand these patterns, you can predict their behavior before they even know it themselves. For example, did you know that people trust those who listen to them more than those who talk to them? It's not because the listener has better ideas, but because being listened to creates a deep connection. Want to influence someone? Make them talk about themselves. They'll trust you more. Another pattern. Fear is stronger than reward. People fear loss more than they desire gain. If you want someone to act, talk to them about what they stand to lose, not what they might gain. One more. People are drawn to exclusivity. If something seems available to everyone, it loses its value. Make someone feel special for knowing something others don't. But the real enemy of influence is organized opposition. Nothing destroys control faster than a united group. History proves it. Rebellions succeed when there's cohesion. That's why you need to prevent opposition from uniting. Divide before they act. Sow doubt. Create internal conflict. Push leaders to fight for power. Make them distrust each other. When they fight, they weaken. The final dilemma, the price of manipulation. So far, everything seems like an infallible strategy, doesn't it? But there's something that no one warns you about. When you play with the minds of others, you start to see the world differently. You begin to distrust everything. You start to ask yourself, are these relationships real? Or have I designed them to serve my purpose? Are these beliefs genuine? Or have they been implanted in me through influence? And here's the paradox. Even if you master manipulation, you will never have full control. There's one thing you can't predict: human chaos. People don't always react the way you expect. Sometimes a small change in their life, an unexpected emotion, or a sudden internal realization can undo everything you've worked for. You can't control how people will react to certain emotions, certain experiences.